Hi everyone, Kim here. Welcome to Olive City Homestead. Today's video is a little different and I just wanted to come on and wish you all a happy Mother's Day. Especially though, I wanted to wish that for those of you who in some way are hurting today. Mother's Day can be a hard day for some of us. For those of us who have lost our mothers and our grandmothers, who have no mother or grandmother to visit and share memories with and bring presents for and cards. And for those of us who've lost children, Mother's Day can be difficult. And I know that personally. So I just wanted to reach out to those of you who are either deeply hurting today or perhaps just have a little corner of sadness there in your soul and it comes out on days like this. I want you to know that you're not alone and that it's okay to feel however you feel. Now, I'm definitely not a psychologist or anything like that, but I do have a lot of experience in both the type of grief this is and in the great benefits that nature can bring to your heart and your life. When I say that nature is my therapy, that is not just a cliche, it's very real. My life changed drastically about a decade ago, and before that, I had never grown a plant in my life. And before that, I was able to sort of keep together all the many strands of my life and the different hurts and things. But when my mother died 12 years ago this month, it actually was a catalyst in my life to live my life differently, to realize that I needed to create that life that I want to live. I need to create it myself, and I needed to create it right now. And that life turned out to be here on this property where I'm continuously creating gardens and orchards and where I spend my time more and more out in nature. And what I know without any shadow of doubt is that nature makes me a happier person. Nature brings me joy, nature brings me peace, nature brings me beauty, nature fills my soul, and nature doesn't help me escape. I don't think escape is necessarily a good thing, but instead it creates a new and better environment for my mind and for my soul. Nature becomes my real home. And in nature, I find real, true connection to those I've lost. You know, there's a famous quote, I think from Tuesdays with Maury, that said, "Death ends a life, but not a relationship." And that is so very true. Though my mother is gone, and though my youngest son died at birth almost 15 years ago now, I still have a relationship with them. I have memories, that's part of it, but I also have an ongoing relationship, again, fostered and enhanced by nature. And how is that? I just want to quickly explain in case you haven't experienced this yet, to encourage you that you can. So, for instance, with my mother, she was not a gardener. I don't remember her ever planting a plant or visiting gardens, botanical gardens, but she loved purple. She loved purple so much. And I find now that purple is everywhere in my garden. I have purple flowers all over the place. And when I see purple flowers and plants and shrubs at nurseries, I will have a little conversation with my mother about whether we should buy that or not. And usually I end up bringing it home and planting it. And around my garden, whenever I see those plants, when I take care of those plants, when I nurture them, it brings me closer to her. Just having coffee in the morning in my garden feels like I'm having coffee with her. She loved her coffee, And in that quietude that you only experience early in the morning in your garden, where all you hear are the birds, I often feel like she's right there next to me. This spring, I planted Christmas lima beans. They're these really big beans that are sort of a deep maroon and cream when they're dry. And I'm growing those because those turn out to be what are called butter beans. And my mom used to cook with butter beans. She made what's called spaghetti soup. Now, spaghetti soup has spaghetti, potatoes, and cabbage, onions. If you make it the authentic Portuguese way, it also has linguiça, which is a sausage, a Portuguese sausage. We're vegetarian here, so we have that linguiça on the side for my son. But the other main ingredient of spaghetti soup is butter beans. So I'm going to be making that actually this evening for dinner. And whenever I cook her recipes like that, it brings me closer to her. But now that I'm growing the butter beans in the garden, whenever I'm watering them, and I'm sure as they twine their way up the trellis this summer, and then as I harvest them in the fall, I'm definitely going to be feeling a strong connection with her and thinking, see, Mom, you could have been a gardener. You could have grown your own butter beans and made your spaghetti soup with your own beans. For me, gardening is all about mindfulness, being aware, really focused on what you're doing at that moment, whether it is taking in the beauty of purple lavender and purple geranium and purple pincushion flowers, or whether it is noticing that, oh, that plant needs some extra water. Oh, I need to stake that plant up. Whatever it is, it takes your attention. It takes your full attention. It's very similar to meditation, and the only type of meditation I do, and the only type I found I've needed. Definitely gardening therapeutically brings me peace and calm. And I never had that before. Even when I used to be a runner, I used to run about 5 miles every day. And I definitely benefited from that physically, but also mentally. But gardening has replaced that, since my body can't do that anymore for various reasons. Gardening has replaced that much more than I ever thought it could. It's a fuller type of peace, a fuller sense of calm, a fuller sort of all-consuming joy, a quiet joy, but it's definitely joy. You can be sad and happy at the same time. You really can. And that is something I'm very grateful to have learned as I age. When it comes to children, it's different, I guess. Now, I have a lot of children, as some of you already know. I have 9 children. Almost all of them are adults now. My 8th child is 18. She's still here at home, but she's 18. And my youngest child, they are 16 now, and they're a live wire. But I had 10 children, and Nathan would be 15 in August. And so even though Mother's Day can be a happy time for me in many ways, because I have all of my wonderful children celebrating with me near and far, and they're all great, and they make me feel very special, nothing can erase, the fact that my 10th child, Nathan, is not here. Now, some people will say, well, just focus on what you have. The human brain doesn't work that way sometimes. And some people don't have anything when it comes to Mother's Day. They don't have other children like I do. And maybe they don't have any other older women in their lives that could step in and fill that empty spot. Not that anyone ever could fill that spot, but... And that is where nature comes in. You can be completely alone and go out in the garden, and nature can fill you up. the sound of birds, the beauty of flowers, the work involved in gardening. It all can fill you up. It can make you feel better. The garden is also such a place for letting memories flow, because when you are in that quiet, sort of focused mindset, that's when the random connections of memory really start happening. I know it's when poetry can come to me. Poetry just meaning thoughts about the feelings I'm having and the people in my life, like my mom, who aren't here with me anymore in one sense, the physical sense, but who are still with me in my heart. So again, I just want to say to those of you who, for whatever reason, have that empty space in your heart on Mother's Day and are finding it difficult, let nature help. And I think we'll just end this video with some flowers and a poem I wrote about my mother a couple of years ago while I was out in the garden. Purple was my mother's color, all shades, all hues, all permutations thereof. She wore purple glasses, purple earrings, purple scarves, purple coats, purple blouses, purple socks. She carried a purple purse, she drove a purple car, and she smiled a very purple smile. Purple twined its way into her heart and oozed from all her pores. Lavender, orchid, amethyst, and plum, mulberry, eggplant, and wine. The colors of my mother's life were a kaleidoscope of violet joy, a celebration of quiet optimism in the face of grief and constant pain. And at the end, a coffin of lilac carried her softly to the grave, hyacinth and hydrangea woven into weeping wisteria. Fuchsia and clematis sprinkled generously with daisies, sweet verbena, and columbine. Some people ask why my garden is so full of purple. I tell them, purple is my mother's color. So if you've stuck with me through this whole video, let me end with another quote that is often attributed to Dr. Seuss and which I really like. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. And I know that that is very much how I feel about the loss of my son. I am so happy I had the chance to carry him to birth and that I got to hold him for a day and really know him, as I feel I did on some level. I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. So yes, there were and occasionally still are moments of tears, but in general, I smile because it happened, and I have a son and I have a mother, and she's not here with me that you can see, but in another way, she really is. So remember, you can create the life you want. Why not start right now? See you next time, folks.